Good day. It is Bradley. Roots of Norwood is where you are. And if you're here, and that's my dog hopping up on the couch. Good man. And if you're here, well, it's because this video is for anyone who wants to grow something. It's not just for gardeners because we're talking sprouts. Let me grab my notes here, because otherwise I'll be all over the place. And my notes, they look all over the place. I guess, how did I discover sprouts? Let's start there. It began one day right over there on my couch as my roommate was over there. Jerry, shout outs, you the man. And I was like crying, not really, but I was like, I wish I could just eat healthy, but I don't have the money and this and that. And I mean, to consistently eat healthy and to the optimal intake of what my body needs. So with that, he was sitting over there, standing over there. He goes, you should try sprouts. And I go, what are sprouts? And he's like, it's like you soak the seeds and I forget how he worded it, but you know, they grow out and you eat them. And I was just kind of like, yeah, that sounds silly, I guess, is how I went to word it. And I need a foot rest. There we go. And I was like, nah, that's silly. No. And then time went on, 6 months later, and Mike Posner, shout outs, he comes on this video and he's just like, sprouts, they give you energy, they give you life, they give you this, they give you that. AKA basically he was just like, they give you health. And his energy was just so intriguing that I was like, maybe this is worth looking into. So then that sent me down the rabbit hole of microgreens, actually. Same seed, just grown as trays. Gosh, why am I cold? It's probably because I don't have my heat on. And yeah, I'm a little chilly, but I'll survive. And you grow them as trays versus the sprouts that we're going to talk about today. So, long story short, the seed was planted in my head 6 months before I even started doing it. So that's what this video is to you. Maybe I won't intrigue you today to go to True Leaf Market or wherever. No, not wherever. I mean, True Leaf's where I've gone. And maybe one day me and them will work something out. But right now I'm just a dude talking about what I love. And it's everything. It's seed and soil. Seeds and soil, yeah. Germinating seeds and healthy soil and providing localized food to humans or animals, I guess. But I can't stay on point. Anyone can do it. And there is one big... If you take one thing away from this, just know you don't need the sun to grow these. Whether you're in a submarine, actually I don't know, the pressure, well, I'm sure it's like neutral pressure, but, well, yeah, I'm sure you could. Whether you're in a van life in it, whether you're in an apartment with no windows, whether you're in, golly, I mean, I would love to bring this to the, even correctional facilities. I mean, mental, physical health that could just boost, and the potential for positive externalities from just implementing one healthy input into your body or everyone's body. It blows my mind, the potential. So, because I've witnessed it with myself. I've never been where I am at this point when it comes to mental and physical health, and I attribute it all to what I'm doing, Roots of Norwood. So subscribe, please. But yeah, so shout outs to Nate. This is my third mention. I think, yeah, I wrote, Mike, Jerry, Nate. So Nate, you know who you are. Longtime customer of me in the workforce at certain jobs, and always been a fan or rooting for me. And he came in and I was talking to him one day, And I was basically just talking like this now, just trying to stoke them onto sprouting. And he was like, "Oh, I can't do it. I don't have any window or any lighted any windows that get light." And hold on, pause this. All right, I had to go throw the nano puff on. I'm too cold. So even though I'm in my house, but the heat's not on. It's 63, so I guess I'm just. Oh, and there's my air purifier's blowing over this way, so makes sense. Back to it though. Nate, he comes in, he's like, I couldn't sprout, I don't have a window. And I'm like, dude, they grow in the dark. And he's like, what? And I was like, yes. And I think that's something probably a lot of people don't know. I didn't even know that. Sure, you can grow them exposed to light, but will you get the same quantity and the same development, and in the long run the same end product? No. You can grow them in the light, sure. Like you can grow them out exposed to ambient light. I wouldn't grow them toasting in a windowsill with bright light, or under grow lights all day, or under even a light. So I say grow lights. I grow my microgreens under shop lights. Like, what are they? T5 tubes or whatever. They're not specified for growing. They're just 5K, not lumens, but the 5K, the brightness levels. I'm no expert on all that, and that's irrelevant to this. So, yeah. So no sun. Anyone could literally do it if you have the time and the resources, which would be seeds and a jar, a cheesecloth, a strainer lid, something. And I'll get into all that, but yeah, I feel like it's either time or money in this world. And if you got time and a bit of money to get the resources, then possibilities could be endless, as I've discovered. So equipment needed. I'm not set up for like displays here or whatever, but I started with cheesecloth. I cut a square piece out, put it over a pasta jar that I washed out. Make sure you kind of like get the pasta, the spices or the garlicky scent out. But I did that, put a rubber band around it. I went to strain out the water. No water drained out. Why? Because the cheesecloth was so like mesh fine. So I took a little nail, poke, and it drained. And then, but there are some cheesecloth that is like meshish, more not as a fine weave that will allow for water to penetrate. So, yeah, cheesecloth. And then there's plastic strainer lids, which I then purchased. Those work great, but even I don't like the contact of the seeds growing on that. It's not like bootstrap farmer plastic. I can't even explain I'm no plasticologist here, but the plastic used on these lids is just, I don't want to say garbage, but it's garbage. So skip that phase of your journey. Whether it's cheesecloth, start there, or jump right to the stainless steel lids. Those actually are arriving today. With a whole slew of stuff. Don't even get me started on Baja Gold salt. But Google it. Anyhow, then when it comes to drip trays, whether you're like when you tip them up and you let them strain at their angle every day, well, for 3 days or whatever, 4 days, I started with a lettuce container. Here. This is like a mushroom container. You know what? We're going to use my hydrogen water bottle just to bring light to the hydrogen water. So basically, pretend this is a mason jar. Tip it upside down and just literally let it sit on the counter like so. And that's how I would strain them the first time I started this, because yeah, you'll see all this fancy sprouting equipment and this and that, and that's awesome. Like me though, I'm a MacGyver. I'm a check to check human trying to be healthy, and you gotta make do. Like I see use in so much junk. So many things. Like I love saving cookie trays. Anytime at my old job, cookie trays were getting thrown out. I was like, I've even taken them out of the garbage. Yes, I've washed them out, and because people put some nasty things in there. Yeah. But anyhow, it was worth it because it's free seed tray. Then yeah, so cheese, and then even cheese trays, like reuse like a if you get a little flat that has cheese slices on it, I've used those, I've saved those. So whatever you can use to create as a tray to catch the drips of water that'll drip out, that you'll want to clean off. Best practice would be daily, but I've let it go for a few days and you'll be all right, but depends on how lazy you want to be. All right, so that's number 2. When it comes down to water, that's huge. I'm not on reverse osmosis, or not on. I don't have reverse osmosis. I am on I'd say not the best quality water. Parts per million are up there. I don't get into my whole water, and that's something I need to. And that's something I'm no expert on and I can't touch on, but everything has an origin, and so when the water is one of the main kind of, it's not providing any nutrients as you feed it or water the sprouts, but it could, at a very cellular type level, absorb some of that contaminant or whatnot, parts per million, all that sediment, all that whatever hootenanny up in the water, in your tap water, into it. I think the biggest thing would be chlorine, so hold tight. I was not prepared for demonstrations with this, but it's okay. So I let water sit. Notice those little air bubbles right there? There we go. There they dissipate, and some dust. So with that said, I refill gallon jugs. I let them sit. I think 24 hours is best practice to dissipate chlorine. Look at your water, water testing from your water supplier. You should get one, I think, every year. I think it's like a legal thing. And check on if you have chlorine or some kind of liquid form of chlorine. And if you have the liquid form of chlorine in your municipality or whatnot, don't use the water on the sprouts, because I don't think it dissipates like chlorinated water does. If you leave chlorinated water uncapped for 24 hours, it should dissipate. But what I did there with the tap on the sides, I feel like all those bubbles, you'll see when you let it sit, all those bubbles get trapped to the side. What's in those bubbles? And yeah, I'm sure they dissipate amongst pouring out, but it's just that one last little thing of, I guess, and I don't know if this is proper or this helps or if this is what's happening, but those bubbles, I believe, are containing the chlorine, not all of it, but the gases, and just to make sure they off gas and get out, just flick the sides of the jug. It's kind of fun, and then they just float up and you're ready to rumble. So so reverse osmosis water would be best. It gets super pricey and wasteful to buy in purified gallons for this use. They have their uses, and I guess really if you want, even still, what I'm getting to, feeding the plants. So you can use that water, that runoff, to feed the plants as well. I don't know. So water, I've been thriving and doing just great with letting my water sit at least. No, it's not purified or filtered, but I'm really bad at giving a justifiable answer, encouraging answer to use unfiltered water. I'm still here. That's a terrible example, but yeah, so at least make sure the chlorine's not in your water. Let's leave it at that. Or been off-gassed. All right, where's my fourth point? You should see my notepad. It's like that. It's all over the place, but it's cool. All right, number 4. Okay, so I put make sure jars and lids are clean. Duh. Yeah, that's huge. Cleanliness. When I've had issues with them going anaerobic, or things have gotten rotten, or not rotten, but you'll notice the roots should be white. If the roots get this little orangey camo to it, or this like rotten brown, or this wilted, thinned up stuff, you probably got some issues going on, and that's probably because you missed a watering step, and by step, you just didn't give it breakfast or dinner. Lunch can always help. That's how I word it. Just make sure they get breakfast, lunch, dinner on water, at least breakfast and dinner. And if you miss dinner, aka miss giving your sprouts water, what I'm talking about might occur. So that is known to happen, or at least speed up what was already happening due to unsanitary jars or lids. But then that circles to the point of no bleach, no alcohol, certainly no bleach. No bleach on anything you'll be ingesting. So no bleach. Maybe on a wall on the other side of the room or something. But hydrogen peroxide is what we use. What should be used, I believe. I think vinegar could be part of it. In True Leaf Market, they send you a sprouting book, and I didn't touch on that. And so, did I touch? I didn't. So I have to touch on it. So True Leaf Market sends this right here with your basically complete seed sprouting guide, and it's informative. It offers many offerings: the soaking, the rinsing, sanitizing. But yeah, most popular alternatives are standard 3% hydrogen peroxide and citric acid concentrates, most commonly grapefruit. Right. Okay, so yeah, right here it talks about the argument of regular use of bleach and how it more so shouldn't be used, and then the popular alternatives are standard 3% hydrogen peroxide. And so the dilution of that is not so clear on the soaking. So the first thing you do, and I will demonstrate that in a little how-to in a bit here, but you'll want to soak the seeds in hydrogen peroxide, whether it's said to at least be 15 minutes of a soak. For me, I will fill them with I used to not fill it with fresh water, like reverse osmosis water on that, or filtered bought water, but I guess I have been, because you just fill them up to get them all moistened, and then that's where I'll put in the hydrogen peroxide. And by that, I just do a little 1, 2, 3, because you're not looking for a high percentage of it. I would say like a few percent ratio to 3 to, I'm terrible with ratio explanation, but 3% hydrogen peroxide to 97% water. That it's said to do 15 minutes and then rinse it out, drain it, and let them sit then in regular water for whatever allotted time period. We'll get to the time periods here in a second, but also I've done it where I let them sit in the hydrogen peroxide solution for the whole germination stage. It's shown that way as well. That's how I do it. Actually, I don't let Yeah. I mean, yes and no. And again, there's no really right or wrong. And the risk is bare minimal. Once you have jars, once you have bulk seed, I mean, it's like 5 cent failures, kind of, and some time, but it's fun and it's rewarding. It helps with all of this. If you want to go down the rabbit hole I have, I mean, once you germinate a seed by sprouting, well, it just plays into out in the garden, makes microgreen trays easier. It all starts to click and connect. So hydrogen peroxide soak, but we'll hit on all that once I give a rundown on it. But I'm just kind of giving a talk, a little awareness session, if you will. This is just like my why I sprout and kind of the how. Shouldn't be overthinked. You don't need some big marketed contraption to sprout. You could use your pasta jars and some cheesecloth and use your pasta sauce first, duh. But then some cheesecloth, something to secure it there, and a container to drain it into. And I mean, start there. And it's so, I don't know. I forget where I was going with that. It's so rewarding just to germinate seeds, and it's so easy when it comes to sprouts. But again, no right or wrong, I guess, is where I was going. Like, experiment, and I'm going to start in the future. Please subscribe for more content when it comes to comparisons. I'm going to compare same seeds, same ratios of water and seeds in a jar, and we are going to use just water, hydrogen peroxide for 15 minutes, and then we'll use hydrogen peroxide for the full soak and just compare and see. I've done that, and not with just water. No, I've done it without the 15-minute soak. So I've done a comparison of with hydrogen peroxide and without. The ones with hydrogen peroxide showed more substantial growth in the end days of the fifth day. I don't know. It's just interesting. I've done it with light and without light, and what I've noticed is people, again, it said, oh, you grow them with light, like, or one way or the other, this or that. I'm just gonna say a seed grows in the dark under soil anyways, for the most part, germinates under there. When it comes to microgreens, they're grown for the first few days in the dark. When it comes to sprouts, yeah, you could soak them in the dark and then sit them out on your countertop exposed to light, and they'll grow, but they won't grow to their optimal growth if you just keep them in the dark. And so that's why I say anyone can do this. I put them on my countertop, put a towel over it, let them go in the dark, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner, give them water. And on that fifth day, or it depends on what seed it is, but on that last day, pull it off, set them in a windowsill. If you don't have a windowsill, put it under a light, put it in your bathroom with the light on, like that. It just needs some light, and you'll notice within a half hour, chlorophyll starting to just bring color into that whole jar. And by chlorophyll, just that green. So I don't know, it's fascinating. So that's why I'm here. I've been inspired by Mike Posner, my buddy, who brought it up and planted the seed in my head, and then I gave no cares about it for 6 months, and then Mike Posner comes in, and I was like, okay, I got to do this. And then, yeah, so I just hope I can be that seed. I'm just kind of planting the seed, in your head, and whether I water it or someone else waters it, I encourage you to discover your green thumbs, because they are innately, naturally within all of us. I feel we're all too unconsciously disconnected from nature these days. And I mean, I hate to sound all like stereotypical here, but nature's the answer. Simple is the answer. We've gotten too carried away. I was in school for sustainability, ASU Online. Shout out Sun Devils. I dropped out, no degree, but I gained so much, and I always just racked my head so hard on like the answer to sustainable food systems. Technology wasn't the answer as much as every innovation seemed to be. I mean, it could have some answers, but it's not the answer. Like, it just keeps broadening the issue. So yeah, localizing food systems to me is giving everyone knowledge and awareness, inspiration to what is possible. Because again, I was sitting over there 2 years ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, I don't know, a year and a half ago actually, and I was just broke, wanted to eat healthy. I'm still not. I'm not broke. Check, you know, check. I'm in good touch with. I was gonna say I'm in good touch with my debt collectors, but yeah, I don't know. We all just need to do this, and to an extent. And again, maybe it's not gardening, maybe it's not trays of microgreens, but when it comes to just a jar of sprouts, woo, it's doable. It is so doable, and that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing this for. Just bring awareness. I'm no expert, so maybe I just spark something in you about sprouts or microgreens or something totally different I said. Either way, I just hope this will lead you down a rabbit hole of discovery when it comes to your potential. It's all directed around health. I could go on and on, but that's what more videos will be for. So stay tuned. Health, mentally and physically. Yeah, mental health is huge, and it's something that somehow, some way, I'm gonna tie deeply into all of this, because I'm 31 and I'm at peace at this moment in my life, physically and mentally, for the most part. Yeah, I have my ups and downs, but I'm not chronically unrest and angst and stressed and feel like sounds dramatic to say, but dying. I'm not that anymore. And I'm not, when it comes to mental health, this is not for today, but stay tuned, because I want to inspire people that there is potential to find peace within your body and in your mind and optimize your health. I say optimize. I love saying optimize. I don't know. So if I do, whatever, like, let me say it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm here to share, bring awareness. Stay tuned, because we're going to be sharing. Let's put it that way. All right, so I'm back, and this will be chopped in somehow, some way, because I totally forgot, and I mentioned ADHD. Never liked being labeled as that. I find it as a benefit versus a hindrance, so I like to encourage myself with the term. But I will get off track, as even when I make notes and a whole list to go through, I forgot a couple points. So I just want to say, it's superfood. I mean, I think the official classification, sprouts do fall into the category of superfoods and microgreens, but there are certain vegetables that are classified as superfoods, and then if you can grow those in the form of a sprout or microgreen, then is that superfood? Yeah. So either way, it's healthy, right? And so that's what we're doing here. We're being healthy. And I love when I would go, I did not just fart, by the way. That was my twist on the chair. I love when I would take a jar of sprouts, like some legume sprouts, like a powerhouse protein sprouting mix, dash all my seasonings in there, dump all the guac in there, shake it up. Best thing ever. And I'll be eating it at work and people will be like, what is that? And I'll tell them, or they'll be like, are you vegan? And I'll be like, no, it's like a easy snack to have midday that's full of nutrients and protein and flavor and tastes great and I feel good and I'm not eating that junk over there out of the vending machine. I used to eat honey buns every day. Felt terrible. Life was miserable. I put down the honey buns and picked up the sprouts and not really. Oh my golly. As I'm doing that, there's a spider like levitating down on his string, whatever you call that, their web. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that. And then soak times are going to vary. So smallish seeds are like maybe 4 to 6. Or 6 to 8. So I typically do 6 hours soak on anything that's roughly small, even up to a radish. Like I'll include the radish in that mixture of small soak. Anything large, if the radishes are into a large mix, I'm going to do probably 12-ish hours. So about 6 hours soak with the water and a bit of hydrogen peroxide to, on top of kill off pathogens and bacteria with that hydrogen peroxide. It actually helps with germination. I've just recently heard from a more scientific folk that mentioned how hydrogen peroxide provides oxygen to the seed, is its benefit in the germination process. So if that's fact, then well, yeah, I mean, it helps. I visually observe it helping, but why? There's the why. The hydrogen peroxide helps oxygenate the seed. So, yeah. And then again, just to touch on, everyone can do this because you don't need the sun. You don't need light. Technically, you don't need any natural light. They grow within 3 to 5 days, whether it's a 1 to 3, like the legumes, maybe on the 3rd day you can start to nom on them, even sooner, but like for a full growth, or whether it's broccoli, radish, alfalfa mix or whatnot. And you can mix it up in so many ways, but that's 3 to 5 days roughly. And on that last day, especially with like the broccoli, on the beans, the legumes, not so much, but on definitely the broccoli, the alfalfa, the clover, those all need to green up for optimal growth. And that's where you can expose them to light. If you have a windowsill that has sun, like ambient, not direct, I wouldn't do it in the morning rising sun or the late afternoon sun, just baking in on the window, but just so they're getting hit by that light, and just give them a spin every like hour or so. I don't know. There's no right or wrong. You play with it. You see, because you're just developing the chlorophyll more so at that point, and maybe some other stuff. I haven't dove into that, but whether it's every 15 minutes, give it a turn for an hour, whether it's every hour for 4 hours, turning it just so it's exposed to like all the sides. For me, I've even put it I have under cabinet lighting. That's how I've greened them up, and it works just fine. So whatever you got that's a light at the end of its growth cycle, whether it's 3 days or 5 days, put it under that. Bada bing, bada boom.